Hi guys, this is Alex, and welcome to part 2 of these extra features. In this extra feature, I'm going to be talking through my top 5 favourite scores of all time, which is ranging from films to TV and games, so there's going to be a real mixture. So number 5 is Sicario by Johan Johansson. I love this film. I think that the music is absolutely incredible. It combines this sense of melancholy and poignancy and sadness, combined with just sheer tension and uncomfortability just through the production techniques used and things like that. He uses a lot of organic instrumentation, but then completely manipulates it. So he's got that glissando on the cello, something very simple but really enhances that tension in there. He's also got very distorted drums, which although if you heard them normally, you wouldn't think, okay, that doesn't sound that nice, but when it's applied to the film with that particular setting, it just fits it absolutely perfectly. It's very experimental, but it's something that I really like. I really like that use of experimentation in scores, and I think that Johan Johansson's completely nailed it on Sicario. I absolutely love it. How I'd sum it up is experimental, ambient, dark, and just intense. Number 4 is Stranger Things. I've only just finished the series and got on the hype, but wow. Using a largely synthesized score, using both analog and modular synthesis, is not only fitting to the period itself, because it's set in 1981 or 83 or something like that, but it's also hints at the futuristic aspect as well, because it is a sci-fi thriller and it kind of hints at that futurism, that science fiction-y sort of vibe. So having that instrumentation really enhances that. So when I heard this all analog synthesized score, I thought it was incredibly fitting to the period of the series, as well as the genre as well. Number 3 is the BBC 4 series called Hinterland. I love all the BBC 4 crime drama stuff. It's not big or epic, but it's very atonal, it's very experimental, and it's very clever. And how they use all of those production techniques and experimentation. So particularly the Hinterland music, I really like the use of experimentation on the production side of things that they've used, in combination with very traditional methods as well. So for example, they go really experimental with the use of impulse responses, things like experimental field recording. They record really unusual instruments, things like glass bowls, with all sorts of things like hands and mallets, and they record the inside of it and then the outside, and they kind of get all various clinks and various sounds from these instruments, which they then use in the scores. And then they would combine something like that with traditional Welsh choral music, because that is the setting of which the whole series is in. I really like all of that stuff. I think it sounds amazing, and that is number 3. Number 2 is American Beauty by Thomas Newman. I love this score just because it's very mysterious. It's not big, it's not epic, but it's just really well crafted, really well arranged. I love the combination of the electronic influences, but then also taking that approach from things like The Shawshank Redemption, which is very big and orchestral. So it's kind of got those two combinations in there, which I really like. I love the use of the native percussion as well. I think that fits really well and kind of gives another edge to the whole score. So that is why it's number 2. And finally, number 1 is Steve Jablonsky's Lone Survivor. The first thing I noticed when listening to the score was that it was very guitar driven. Now, growing up as a guitarist, being a guitarist myself, that's really nice to hear. Just all sorts of guitars, acoustics and electrics and things like that, but then other stringed instruments as well. I really like that use of guitars, how it's driving it forward, especially in the first track when you see them all running across the beach on their morning run. It's very reflective how they're starting up a new day and kind of starting off on acoustic guitar, playing very basic chords, and then going into quite big lead lines on electric guitar. So I really like that guitar driven aspect of the score. So this traditional instrumentation is used alongside things like drones and pads and kind of big underlying ambiences, which I feel is used really effectively for the tense scenes, things like when they're about to be captured by the Taliban. These underlying drones and pads are really used very effectively. It's also good to see that there's no music in the film as well, especially in the battle scene. There's no music used throughout that, and that's because they wanted to emphasize that sense of hyper-realism, really letting the sound design, the Foley and the ambiences take shape and give that harsh reality about life, which is kind of reminiscent in films like Saving Private Ryan and possibly American Sniper and things like that. So kind of using sound design and Foley to really enhance that realism and not use music is a very important creative choice that you must make, and in this particular case it's really worked well. So that's it for Extra Feature Part 2, where I was talking through my top 5 favourite scores of all time. Join me for Extra Feature Part 3, where I'll be talking through whether you can create a score out of a mug, a teaspoon and a bowl. I'll see you then.